player, not like a classical player. So I feel like I've been spending like half of my adult life just disguising shit that I know, which is fine. I wouldn't really have it any other way.
So you're in Montreal, you're playing bluegrass, and what was the next step after that?
Well, the next step after that was I heard Irish music for the first time. And I was right around the same time I started playing bluegrass, and it just blew my mind. I'd never fucking heard Irish fiddle playing. I'd played violin for 13 years. I put 10,000 hours into practicing violin at that point. I'd never heard an Irish fiddle player. So I heard this recording of Kevin Burke. Some guy gave it to me and said, "Hey, you should learn these tunes." And it blew me away. I was like, "Holy shit, I can't believe a fiddle sounds like that." It blew my mind. I couldn't believe that anyone could make a violin sound that way. I just had so much groove and rhythm that I was kind of instantly obsessed. It's kind of like watching Jesse Zubot. It was like this moment where it's like, I haven't listened to that much Kevin Burke since, although probably I actually have, but it was just like a moment in time. It was kind of like some light went on, and I was like, oh shit, that's what a fiddle sounds like. So to me, it's kind of like I always sort of associate Irish music and bluegrass music as being really similar. And I don't think I'm totally off base, because most of that, all the fiddle stuff came to North America by way of Scotland and Ireland.
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's kind of the same shit. It's just that the style and the way it's played is obviously different. I always look for similarities in kind of the rhythms, the choice of notes, that kind of stuff.
So did you go about learning some of these Irish fiddle tunes?
I did. I jumped into instead of getting a job in business, I called some guys who I knew who needed a fiddle player, and they gave me a job working in an Irish band. I played that band for 5 years. I played probably 11 or 1,200 pub gigs in that time.
Doing what kind of tunes?
Oh, popular, like Irish pop music. When I say Irish pop music, I mean like traditional drinking songs, and then medleys of fiddle tunes. The banjo player was really good. He was really into fiddle tunes. So I got introduced to this whole world of kind of Irish tunes and bluegrass tunes all at the same time. And I got to play them too. And I worked my ass off for that band. I would drive 3 hours to Kingston, set up a 1970 sound piece of sound equipment, play 3 one-hour sets, and drive home, get home at 5 in the morning, and I'd make like $50. And I do that like literally every Friday and Saturday night, because we never stayed over there because they didn't pay us enough, so we couldn't afford a hotel room. So we'd drive there and back. Did that all the time.
So what kept you going, if they were paying you so little?
Well, I mean, I lived in Montreal, man. My rent was $250.
Right. But still, that's a lot of driving. That's a lot of effort. Like,
yeah,
was the playing itself enough to?
I just wanted to be a musician. I just wanted to be a professional. Like, I couldn't imagine doing anything else. So it was like, and I enjoyed every minute of it. Like, it was kind of crazy and a little intense, but
even though you'd stuck it out for 4 years of a business degree.
Yeah.
Like, what was the moment where you just thought, business is just not for me?
I had on a suit. I had 20 different resumes, each one tailored specifically to a different bank branch. I was going to try to get an entry level as a clerk. I just looked at myself in the mirror, I looked at the resumes, I looked at my suit, and I said, I can't do this, man, there's no way. So and then within 5 minutes, I called those guys and said, look, I'll do anything to work with you guys. And I said, hey, as luck would have it, we're just recording this Gypsy album. We need a fiddle player to come in and do some stuff, and we have a couple of gigs. And I just jumped in, I just jumped in and tried to learn as much as I could, as quickly as I could. I got embarrassed a few times.
What do you mean by Gypsy album?
The mandolin player, he was really into all these old gypsy tunes he played on mandolin. And he knew that I could play that stuff, because the whole classical gypsy thing, like the Brahms, Hungarian dances and all that stuff, like I had great vibrato and like good tone, so I could really play that stuff quite beautifully. And then he just taught me all the gypsy all the Irish stuff and bluegrass stuff and pop stuff.
At what point did you move to Toronto?
Once I got sick of Montreal, that band kind of imploded a little bit, and so I decided I needed to change the scenes. I just wasn't happy. So I came to Toronto, and I played music with a guy here called Mike Rossiter, who gave me a ton of gigs when I first came to town. So.
Is there generally a demand for fiddle players in the music scene? I mean,
yeah,
but like the world of music is probably lousy with guitar players.
Yeah, but the thing is that there's a lot of fiddle because people like strings. Strings always kind of go in a cycle, but there's always music. Like country music used to be all about strings. Now it's not so much. Now actually country music is about guitars and pop music is more about strings, which is kind of a funny turn of events.
Where do you hear strings and pop music?
Arcade Fire. The Stars, the Social Scene, Feist, there's tons of strings, tons, everywhere. Owen Pallett, he's the first guy I've seen create music from scratch using loop pedals, where the music was about the music and not about the loop pedal. Awesome. He plays violin. He has a little Casio, looks like a little Casio keyboard, and a ton of looping pedals. And he writes music, like really good music. The guy's an artist. He's great.
But at the same time, you play a massive range of styles of music. Is there a favorite that you have, or is there?
Yeah, I'm strongest at bluegrass and country. Something sort of sad about it, and it's slow enough that you can kind of really hear the subtleties in all the notes. It's very happy and sad sounding at the same time. It can go any way. It can go nasty, it can go pretty, it can go kind of resplendent, it can go dark, it can go lots of ways.
Tell me about your wife.
I met her when she started taking some fiddle lessons from me, but she quit pretty quickly because she didn't like what I was teaching her. And to be honest, I wasn't a great teacher back then. This was like 4 years ago. And she gave me a book for my birthday, right after she stopped taking lessons from me. I guess probably to show me some hard feelings. But I didn't really think much about it. And then 3 months later, I read the book, and I really liked the book. And I kind of...
What was it?
It's called Rats.
Is it a novel?
No, it's a very interesting book. It's a very, very good read. It reads almost like a novel. It's about a guy who becomes obsessed with rats in New York City, and he follows them as an anthropologist would, or as a biologist would. But in the course of it, he ends up uncovering all this sort of underground history of New York, like the history of the booze cans and the early subway. He follows rats in the subway, and then starts talking about how the subway was built, and the people who built the subway, and people who financed it, hundreds of years ago. Really interesting shit. So I thought, oh, this is cool. So I asked her on a date, and
After 3 months?
I hadn't seen her in 3 months.
What was it about that book that made you think there might be something there?
Well, because I thought it was a really clever book, and I really liked it, and I didn't know and I didn't know if I kind of would identify with her on an intellectual level, and then I married her.
So how long have you been together?
This is our 4th year.
Do you ever play together?
Yeah, we jam together all the time. She loves old time fiddle. She kind of turned me onto it, like Appalachian style fiddle, as opposed to bluegrass, kind of one of the precursors to bluegrass.
So with all these different styles that have come and contributed to the long and twisted journey of your musical career, what do you think might happen next?
I've decided that I kind of want to eventually do an album, like I did it for my first solo album last year. when I wrote all these fiddle tunes, and I like it. I think it's a nice album, but it's very all over the map. And I kind of set out for it to be that way. Just that it had so many different influences. But I'm trying to zero in on kind of what I